Sports Limelight. Hey, Drew.
Well, hello, Bill. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. It's been a while since we've seen each other.
Sure has. Oh, my, how the time passes.
Yeah.
You brought up several shows ago now a great topic, rivalries in sports, that we felt like deserved a whole show unto itself. So that's what we're going to do today.
Right on, Bill.
Now, Drew, what to you makes a rivalry?
Well, it's got to be two teams that play in a consistent amount of time, throughout the years. Once a year would be ideal. And they also, I think they both have to be historically great. Not necessarily have to be great at the same time that particular year, but there's a history of back and forth and greatness.
I agree. Now, I'm here to tell you what is not a rivalry.
Oh, you're going to rival my response?
Hey, there you go. These two categories have kind of irked me over the years.
Okay.
When these get thrown in there. Category one is when one team beats the other one all the time, but the team that gets beaten all the time tries to make it a rivalry. Like we heard it on this show in the past with a guest where, a Suns fan, I hate the Spurs, they're our rival, Suns versus Spurs. Mm-hmm. That's not a rivalry. The Spurs win all the time. The Spurs win championships. The Suns have zero.
Right.
And to the Spurs, the Suns are just one of many, many teams they beat along the way to, winning championships. So
yeah, it's tough to have a rival if you don't win, if you don't win anything because, you always lose. I guess you could call like maybe the Jazz or some sort of middle ground Western team could be Phoenix's rival because those games go back and forth.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Like, know what neighborhood you belong in.
Right.
You're, for the Suns and Jazz, it'd be like teams fighting for like the 7th seed in the West in a good year for them to kind of, try to get in, maybe win in the first round.
Yeah.
Another, sadly for me, until 2004, a non-rivalry like that was Red Sox versus Yankees because the Yankees always won. Mm-hmm. Now, my second criteria for what is not a rivalry is when the two teams don't matter. It fits in with what you were saying where the teams have to be winning teams. It has to mean something. That's the greater thing to me. What does this rivalry really mean? What's the consequence? I'll use a local one, Arizona versus Arizona State in, pretty much any college sport, basketball, football. Mm-hmm. I feel like we really hate each other is kind of an excuse to try to raise your own profile in the big picture of sports.
Right.
What does someone in, Ohio care about Arizona versus Arizona State, knowing that neither team is going to win anything? Like
right.
The winner of this game around Thanksgiving will be 5-6 and finish 6th in the Pac-10.
Right.
Or now Pac-12, I guess.
Well, you got those national college rivals like Michigan and Ohio State, Oklahoma, Texas. Those, I give Arizona State a little bit of credence because the other rivalries, they get broadcast more. They are nationally recognized because they're played on national television.
So maybe with time, Arizona versus Arizona State can become more established, and maybe along the way, one of them can win a college football championship when they get around to actually having playoffs.
Right. Neither of those teams have won a Rose Bowl, which is what their conference plays for. So tough to get recognition when you don't play in anything big. But now I have some questions for you, Bill, in what is and what is not a rival.
Yes.
Must two teams be in the same division or conference for it to be a rival?
At least conference, yes. In the NFL, you play a team from the other conference only every 4 years in the regular season.
Okay, so like,
even Giants-Patriots, which has got to be the closest you could possibly come to a rivalry, I don't think quite makes it because there's not enough.
Right.
You're not going to be playing them until 2015.
Well, what about, for example, Patriots-Colts?
Rivalry.
You think so? Okay.
There's enough, even though the Colts may not be good again for a while, there's enough history and enough championships between the two teams.
Okay, how about Lakers-Celtics?
Now that is a rivalry.
Yeah.
Even though they're not in the same conference, in the NBA, everyone plays everyone at least twice a year.
Right.
So those two teams, so much history going back to probably the 50s, right?
Right, yeah.
Do you think, throwing one back at you off of this now, do you think a rivalry can ever lose its rivalry status if the teams go long enough?
Well, you know what? I have a pretty good example of that. Nebraska, Oklahoma, the football.
Ooh. Yeah, that was huge.
They
for a
were
while.
huge back when they were in the Big 8. And then when the Big 12 formed, they only played each other once every 2 years. Because they'd do a home, and then they would skip the next 2 years and play again.
Wow.
So you really lost it kind of in the steps there. And then, of course, Nebraska joined the Big 10. Now they don't play each other at all. So I think it's going to be nothing, just a history now.
And that's a shame to see in college football. It's like they shouldn't be allowed to do that. There was, I think, like Penn State versus Pittsburgh was another similar thing that happened there where they just can never play each other anymore.
Right. Now, how do you feel, or do you have any opinion on individual rivalries, like Magic versus Bird?
It would have to be mainly NBA,
Okay.
right? Because that's by far the least players, and one player alone can kind of put the team on his back, as
As
the
Greg
Greg
Jennings.
Jennings guy would say. That was surely one. And the NBA especially, this is kind of a problem for them, the way they market themselves, where it's star-driven instead of team-driven.
Right.
So you'd have probably now, Kobe Bryant versus LeBron James if they faced off in the finals.
And or even golf. I mean, Tiger Woods, pretty much it was him and the rest of the field. I don't think he had a rival, so to speak. I know Phil was talked about.
Tiger Woods' rival was fire hydrants.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess he didn't have any rivals because he would beat everybody. Nobody would beat him.
Yeah, it goes into category 1 for me, and my team's one.
So I guess that means, based on your criteria, Michael Jordan didn't have a rival?
Ooh.
Maybe the Pistons back in the,
I guess,
the late 80s?
I guess when you say someone was unrivaled, they were that good, I guess that can apply to Jordan. No one ever beat him in the finals.
Yeah, so individual rivalries kind of get tricky there because two people have to be great at the same time.
You can't just have one that continuously beats the other, like Eli Manning keeps beating Tom Brady.
Exactly. Yeah, or you can't have like an old Michael Jordan lose to like a young Allen Iverson.
Yeah.
Like one time, and then that's it. You gotta have the.
They have to be around the same age.
Exactly.
When Michael Jordan beat a kind of old Magic Johnson, same sort of thing there. So.
Yeah.
Although Jordan versus Bird was a great Nintendo game.
That was, yeah. That was a great McDonald's commercial, too, when they were calling their shots.
Nothing but net.
Off the rafters.
Obligations to us as fans, how to act in rivalries. Do you think there's a code how we need to conduct ourselves?
No, boo the other team. I'm just kidding.
I'll go with, be concerned most with your team taking care of business. I think that's what I want to stress the most. Don't be overly obsessed with your rival to where it becomes petty, small time, or kind of like a loser mentality.
Yeah.
To give you an example, I think it speaks so much what your fans will chant. At Yankee Stadium, you'll probably most hear, "Let's go Yankees," when they're playing Boston. Mm-hmm. While at Fenway Park, same two teams matching up, the chant will be, "Yankees suck." So in other words, to me, the Red Sox are obsessed with the Yankees, while the Yankees are obsessed with winning. That makes all the difference to me. So in basketball, there's another one where, fans will chant "Beat LA." Mm-hmm. It was kind of a Boston thing in the 80s, but an extra level of hilariousness to me would be when like Phoenix fans do it, because fitting into, category 1 earlier, that's not even a rivalry. And number 2, why don't you worry about your team winning something first?
Right, exactly.
Before being, obsessed with the Lakers.
Yeah, I'm sure the Spurs have all these "Beat Phoenix" signs lying around.
Yeah.
But yeah, you see that a lot in college football. You see a lot of posters and shirts that say, F the Sooners, or, and F Texas, and it's like, man, what are you doing? You're not. It's like you're not even rooting for your team. You're like rooting against the other team. Yeah,
come on, rise above. There was sort of along those same lines. Antrell Roll is one of my least favorite Giants. I think he yaps a little too much. But one thing he said in the middle of last year, when the brutal part of the Giants' schedule was beginning, the Giants don't need to be worried about their schedule. Their schedule needs to be worried about the Giants. And that's kind of what it is. Take care of your business. And if you're good enough to win, it shouldn't matter who you're playing. So don't be obsessed with the other team losing. In college football, you mentioned it with the T-shirts and everything. And there's also the thing of tearing down the goalposts, when beating a team that you're admitting is really far above you.
Right.
What kind of examples have you seen of that over the years?
Well, in '96, it was Nebraska versus ASU.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, we just came off 2 national championships and coming to Tempe, and they handled us pretty well. But then they just bummed rushed the field and took the goalpost and carried it to Mill. So I guarantee you wouldn't see the Husker fans do that if they beat ASU.
Wow.
They would not storm the field and take the goalpost down.
That is a great point.
And then bringing it to baseball, I know that D-backs and their organization like to bring up that World Series against the Yankees. So.
Oh, yeah, they drag it out like by now. It's like dragging out a 64-year-old former beauty pageant winner. Like, hey, Gertrude, come twirl the baton again. Where it's, all you have is a hammer. Everything looks like a nail. The Yankees were here last year. They dragged it out, all the highlights and the 10th anniversary. And I have no doubt that when the Yankees come back here again in 2016 or however, the interleague cycle works, they'll drag it out again. Remember this? Hey, Yankees, remember this? You get a few years to do that. Fine. Okay.
Right.
But by now it's like a Jets fan saying, hey, Colts, how about 1968? Huh? Yeah, take that.
That's right. I was there. I was born in '80. But I think when teams do that, it just shows you how great your team is, or how, I wouldn't call it respect, but just how much better you've been.
Thank you.
To beat you, we have to elongate the celebration because you're so good.
I love that positive outlook you have on it. Like, if everything else would have been the same, if the Diamondbacks had beaten, the Cleveland Indians in that World Series, it wouldn't have nearly, meant as much to them.
Right.
Anything
Now
else
I think the greatest rivalry of all time is Sports Limelight and Mike and Mike. I mean, clearly it's just a battle of, radio gods. Beat Mike and Mike. Beat Mike. Oh wait, crap. No, we're not very good.
Let's see your YouTube page views on May 15th, Mike and Mike. Well, we'll need to somehow gerrymander the statistics to give us a win over them and then tout it for the rest of our existence.
That's right. We did more podcasts tonight than they ever did on this night.
Oh, man.
Hey, so speaking of a group with no rivals, how about Rush there?
Hey, I like that. Music rivalries, not as easy to decipher, but
Yeah.
an interesting topic. Well, thank you for listening to another Sports Limelight. Thank you, Drew, for this great idea for a topic.
Oh, you're welcome. I can't wait till you rival my idea with another one.
Why try, right? Sports Limelight, thank you again for listening. We will see you again soon.